proceed?
I believe so.
Okay, I can't tell if it's recording. That's what I should have asked that.
We're good to go.
Recording?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry for that confusion and delay. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the November 10th, 2021 meeting of the City of Pasco Hearing Examiner. My name is Andy Kotkamp, and I've been appointed by the City of Pasco to serve as the Land Use Hearing Examiner. And my job is to make decisions and, in some cases, recommendations to City Council on various applications that are authorized to come before me. I consider any testimony and evidence presented at today's hearing, as well as all the written materials that are already on file, in order to make my decision. Now, though this hearing process does have certain rules, I still try to conduct the meetings in a relaxed and informal manner, but we still have a procedure we're going to use. We'll take each item separately, obviously, and for each item, staff will present their report and make whatever recommendations that they wish to make. Then the applicant or the applicant's representative is given an opportunity to present their testimony and evidence. The applicant does have the burden of proof to show compliance with all the applicable rules and regulations. If there are people from the public that are here today that wish to testify, you'll be given that opportunity to do so. And if there is any testimony in opposition to the project, then I will give the applicant an opportunity to submit whatever rebuttal testimony that they wish to make. If you are going to testify, I'll just have you identify yourself and state your name and address, and then I will swear you in as a witness. I'd ask that you keep your testimony relevant to the application that we're talking about and not to other issues beyond the scope of the proposal. If you have anything in writing that you want to submit tonight, we can make those arrangements. If there are members of the public here today, I want to remind everybody that this is not a question and answer period. This is a time now for you to submit your evidence and testimony as to why a project does or does not comply with the applicable rules and regulations. I do have the option to keep the record open if I think there's a need for additional written testimony to be submitted, but in any event, my written decision will be made within 10 working days after I close the public record. And now, except as provided by the Pasco Municipal Code regarding requests for reconsideration, my decision on two of the matters, the special permit matters, will be final and conclusive unless they are appealed. Appeals are by means of a land use petition action that have to be filed with the Franklin County Superior Court within 21 days of the date of the decision. And if the appeal is not timely filed, the appeal will be barred. Now, I am going to be making 3 recommended decisions on 3 of the items that are on today's agenda. Those are the zone change request at the end of the agenda, and then 2 zone determination recommendations. Those are, as stated, those are recommendations. Those are not final decisions. Those recommendations will go to the Pasco City Council, who will then make the final appealable decision on those matters. I've reviewed all the items on today's agenda. I don't have any interest in any of the properties or the proposals to be heard today. And I will be able to fairly and objectively consider each item. And then outside of receiving and reviewing the staff report for each item, along with all the attachments to the staff report, which generally include all the application materials, there's all the noticing documents, site plan drawings, zoning map records. Other than receiving and reviewing essentially the entire planning staff file, I've not had any communication regarding any of the items that are on today's agenda. So with those representations, if anybody has an objection to me serving as a hearing examiner, you need to identify yourself and come forward and state your objection at this time. And seeing no movement, I will now turn to the first item on this agenda. As I indicated, there were 2 special permit matters on the agenda. The first one is given application number SP 2021-017. It's the Sage and Sun Motel conversion. This relates to property located within the city of Pasco that is more specifically described in the staff report as well as in the application materials. And for the record, I will admit into the record that staff report and all the attachments to the staff report, which included all of the application materials and the site plan drawings and the noticing documents. I will admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference and turn this matter over to staff for their presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. So as you've mentioned, and for the benefit of the audience, the first item is SP 2021-017. Kevin Simpson Berger, I don't know how he pronounces that, in behalf of Day Kim Hanlim Corporation, with the Sage and Sun Motel conversion to 34 long-term single-room occupancy units, or SROs. This is located at 1232 South 10th Avenue, parcel 112-311-178. It is currently zone C1, which is retail business. The site contains approximately an acre, a little bit more than an acre, 43,995.08 square feet. Applicant has submitted a special permit application for the conversion of a motel into up to 34 long-term single-room occupancy units. The facility's public notice of the hearing was sent to the property owners within 300 feet of the property and posted in the Tri-City Herald on October 15th, 2021. The site is occupied by 3 one-story structures, as you can see on the aerial photograph, comprising approximately 11,500 square feet of motel space. They were built between 1966 and 1977. Council approved Ordinance 4425 regarding the regulation of SROs in 2019, and this ordinance became Pasco Municipal Code Chapter 25.162. SROs may be approved by a special permit in the C1, C2, and C3 zoning districts, and as mentioned before, this is a C1 zone. SRO housing must meet all building and zoning standards as dictated by the PMC. The provisions of this chapter prevail in the event of conflicting standards presented in the underlying zoning district. And those are the highlights for my report.
All right, thank you very much. I have reviewed everything. It was a very thorough report, and I appreciate your presentation tonight. Is the applicant ready to proceed? Is there anybody in council chambers identifying themselves as a representative of the applicant?
I believe he'll be speaking right now, Mr. Examiner.
Okay, I didn't see any movement. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Andy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, this is Kevin Simpson Berger. Nice to meet you over the Zoom chat. But yes, we are excited about the project, and
okay, I need to just do a couple of formalities first. So you've identified yourself, and then I need an address, and then I'm going to swear you in as a witness, okay?
Okay.
All right, great. What's an address for you?
601 Union Street, Suite 4720, Seattle, Washington, 98101.
Okay, perfect. And can you raise your right hand for me?
Yep.
All right, sir, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give today will be the truth?
Yes.
All right, great. And sir, are you here as an agent authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the property owner and applicant today?
I'm the applicant, not the property owner.
But are you authorized to speak on their behalf?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, like I said, little housekeeping there to take care of. Now, what would you like to tell me about this project?
Yeah, you know, it's been an interesting process. I'm working with Debbie Tate of Tate Architecture, someone local to the area, and we've had it under contract since January of 2021. So it's been a very long feasibility. But yeah, we're excited about it. There's a lot that has to be done to kind of meet this SRO, special permit, and so we're still pretty much dialing in all the costs related to the civil work because there's it sounds like there's quite a bit of civil work that's going to be associated with this project. So that's kind of one of the hurdles we're working through, and then really everything else is kind of related to, making this building compliant from, electrical, plumbing, safety standpoints, and then obviously transforming this motel that, in the neighborhood seems to be the one thing in that neighborhood that's really bringing it down and turning it into, some really beautiful housing. So that's the goal.
All right, terrific. Sir, did you have a chance to look at the proposed conditions of approval?
Yeah, I've looked it over with Debbie early on as to what's required, if that's what you're talking about.
Well, the staff report has several proposed conditions of approval. And
Okay.
so what I always ask every applicant, so anybody else there, get ready for this question. Have you reviewed the proposed conditions of approval, and do you have any objection to those? There are 5 recommended conditions of approval. If you haven't read them, I can read them to you.
Yeah, I believe I haven't read it then.
Have or have not?
Have not.
All right. So basically, recommended condition 1 is that the permit shall apply to the specific tax parcel and any subdivisions thereof. There's no outdoor storage of equipment or materials. The special permit shall be null and void if all necessary building permits have not been obtained within 2 years of the special permit approval. The special permit shall be null and void if the provisions of Pasco Municipal Code 25.162 are not met. And the special permit shall be null and void if the site is not constructed, maintained, and operated in conformance with the above conditions. Those are the recommendations from staff. Do you have any objection with any of those?
That sounds fine to me.
All right. So is there anything else, sir, that you'd like to add about this project?
No, this is, I've done, renovations before on buildings. I've never done a change of use essentially, or gone through the special permit application process. So this is kind of a learning lesson, but yeah, I think this is good.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming today. I appreciate talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy.
You're welcome. Now we'll turn it over to the public. Again, I can't really see who's there. So is there any member of the public that wishes to speak today? If so, come on up.
There's not, Mr. Examiner.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adams. Is there anything further from staff?
No, sir.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to close the public record portion of this hearing then. And I will have a written decision made within the next 10 working days, and I'll do my best to get it out by sometime before mid next week. So you know about that. All right, the next item on today's agenda is also a special permit. It's given application number SP 2021-018. And this is an application for a daycare to be located on property located again within the city of Pasco, on property that is more specifically described in the staff report as well as in the application materials. And once again, I will admit into the record by this reference that staff report and all those attachments to the staff report, which included all the application materials and all of the site plan drawings and photographs. There are comments that have been submitted. I will admit all those items, and indeed I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference, and presumably turn this matter over again to Mr. Adams for the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. So again, this is SP 2021-018, Esperanza Orozco for the Orozco Children Hope Daycare. The property is located at 3804 West Octave Street, parcel 119493246. The zoning is RS12 suburban. The site contains approximately a quarter acre, slightly more than a quarter acre. Applicant wishes to operate a daycare facility here. And in conjunction with that application, they plan to modify an existing 2,500 square foot house to serve the daycare use. Public notice of this hearing was sent to property owners within 300 feet of the property and posted in the Tri-City Herald on October 19, 2021. The site is occupied by the aforementioned 2,500 square foot house. Pasco Municipal Code requires one parking space for each employee and one parking space per each 6 children. The proposed facility would house up to 5 employees and 38 children, according to the applicant. And therefore, the total parking requirement would be 12 spaces, and this is rounded up. The proposed parking on Road 38 would be 81.5 feet wide, which exceeds the maximum allowable driveway approach width of 34 feet for residential properties. The proposed parking lot off of Road 38 poses a safety concern for visibility of the intersection, according to our city engineering staff. And the proposed parking is located in the required front yard landscaping setback area. And for these and a few other reasons, you can see on the site map here the location of the proposed parking, which occupies pretty much the entire eastern right-of-way frontage there. So because of these issues, staff does not believe the application adequately addresses parking and site improvement concerns. So we would not recommend approval of this proposal as submitted. And those are our highlights.
Thank you. As I reviewed everything, sir, it looks like parking was the sole issue. Were there other issues that feed into your recommendation, or is it simply the parking issues that have been demonstrated?
Parking and safety related to the parking.
Right. Okay. All right. Just wanted to confirm that. Is the applicant present and ready to proceed?
Applicant is not here today.
All right. Was the applicant given notice of the date, place, and time of the hearing?
They were.
All right. Thank you very much. Did any member of the public come to testify on this matter?
Yes, sir, there are.
All right. I'll have you state your name and address for me.
My name is Aaron Thrasher, 3905 West Octave Street, Pasco, Washington.
And Thrasher, Thrasher.
That's correct.
And Aaron with 2 A's.
It is.
All right. I'm going to have you raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give today will be the truth?
It will, yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And sir, what would you like to tell me?
We just have some concerns. We are on Octave Street. It's a cul-de-sac. We are at the very end of the cul-de-sac from where the house lies. We're basically, if you run down to the end of the street, you run into our driveway. We do have current concerns now with the amount of the daycare size now. With some of the drop-offs and pickups, there are some safety concerns with where they're coming in and pulling into the driveway. We do have a lot of traffic coming in through the cul-de-sac as well. I mean, we know it's a public road and we understand that piece of it, but we're concerned about, we thought it was 25 kids. We had no idea it was going to be 38. We're very concerned about the amount of traffic that's going to bring in to the neighborhood. It's cul-de-sac. We've looked into several other daycares that are of similar size within Pasco. All of those are on either major streets such as Argent or Court Street, or on through streets that don't have a cul-de-sac. So that's kind of where our concern is. There have been safety issues with where people are coming in, not paying attention to where they're backing out or cutting across the street, you know, in a hurry to get kids dropped off or picked up. So those are kind of some of our concerns that we have. The parking there on 38th, we were very concerned about where they were going to possibly put 11, let alone 12 spots in their house, and we just don't see that as a viable option for where it's at. When we specifically bought our house, we came to the neighborhood several different times of days, different days of the weeks, you know, just trying to get an idea of what the traffic situation was like. It was always quiet. It was, you know, it was always just your regular, normal traffic that you would see in a neighborhood. So our concern is especially during the shorter days, during non-daylight savings times, you know, when somebody drives down the road, their lights are straight into our house. So it's, you know, the thought of having, you know, 50, 60 cars a day coming up and down the road, you know, with drop-offs and pickups, those are our concerns.
So your experience is that they've been using your not your cul-de-sac, the cul-de-sac as a turnaround spot?
Yes. Because their driveway is currently sits on Octave Street, so they come in off of 38th, turn in, and if they're coming south on Road 38, there have been multiple incidences where they cut straight across the corner into the driveway without paying attention, or back out onto Octave without looking to see if anybody from down the street's coming out. Every neighbor within the street, because I mean, there's only 6 houses in there, has had issues with almost being hit.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Township, for coming in. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's all we got.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any other member of the public that wishes to testify tonight? And your name and address, please?
My name is Tonette Michael, Tonette Michel, 3820 West Octave Street, Pasco, Washington.
All right, I'll have you raise your right hand for me, please. And do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give today will be the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. And Ms. Michael, what would you like to tell me?
So first off, I'd like to recognize some of the concerns that was brought forward already about how narrow the street is. Road 38 was never a completed street. It becomes very narrow as you head south towards Henry. And the reason I'm bringing that up is in 2001, my husband and I were entered into a building contract with All Pro Construction, and we were supposed to be the original homeowners of the house that currently sits on that lot. The original house design actually had a garage that was going to enter off of Road 38, and the city of Pasco actually denied our easement request for the very reasons that you stated, such as the road was too narrow, the proximity to the stop sign, and the safety hazard of the blind corners right there. So we actually were able to break our contract with All Pro Construction, and we purchased the house located further down at 3820. The family that did buy the house, Marlo and Tyler Thomas, had made the same request from the city of Pasco to put a shop in the backyard, a detached garage, and the city of Pasco actually denied their easement request also for those same reasons. So as a family that still lives there, we can't understand how it even could be considered to add 11 parking spots to an area where already even just a driveway easement has been denied. And so we're wondering if the same standard of safety is going to be held to the daycare center that was held to the people that lived in the house prior to the daycare. And just for our understanding, our letters actually say that this is a proposed preschool center. And I actually work for a preschool myself. At times of drop off and pick up, if you have 25 students attending your preschool and they start at 9:00 a.m., there are 25 cars that are going to come to that house, and they are going to be required to park, and they are going to have to walk their children inside and sign them in. At pickup, they will also have to do the same. So even though we're saying that there's 11 proposed parking spots, the reality is at the times of pickup and drop off for these students, there has to be adequate parking. So if there's 25 students, there's going to be 25 cars. And on a daily basis, like I said, I work for a preschool and I see this currently at my preschool daycare center. But primarily, I think the concern here is the safety, the proximity to the stop signs, the increase in the traffic, as well as the additional impact burden of the parking, that we already get a lot of turnarounds in the cul-de-sac. So without the adequate parking, if the daycare is approved or the preschool is approved, but the parking is not approved, where are these cars going to park? The street, Road 38, that runs north and south, there is no edge to the road where the road becomes very narrow towards the south end by Henry Street. So the only parking is either in our cul-de-sac or it would be in that gravel area up against the house, which is where they were currently proposing the parking. So we're just wondering where that would be, what their hours of operation are, if this is going to be a half-day session, a full-day session, because if it's a half-day session and they get 2 sessions, that means 4 times a day, that corner would be potentially flooded with 25 cars. And that's a lot for a residential area. Those are my concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for coming in tonight. Did anybody else wish to offer any testimony tonight?
It does not appear so.
All right, thank you very much. I assume the applicant has not shown up, is that correct?
No, sir.
All right. Is there anything further from staff?
We did receive a letter, and I think I forwarded it to you, Mr. Examiner. It says, morning, my biggest concern would be parking and the amount of traffic that now will be coming and going on Road 38. It's bad enough that we get speeder going way too fast on Road 38, and to add this to the mix, I feel it is not a good fit. And this is homeowner John Mitchell.
And I did receive that, and if not clear, I will make that a part of the record as well.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner.
Thank you for pointing that out. All right, with that, what I'm going to do is close the public record portion of this hearing. I will have a written decision made within the next 10 working days, and I do appreciate Mr. Thrasher and Ms. Michael for coming out tonight. Thank you very much. We'll turn to the third item on today's agenda. This is a zoning determination request given application number 2021-002, and this application is for the hearing examiner to make a recommendation to city council as to a particular zoning determination on property within City of Pasco that is more specifically described in the staff report as well as in those application materials. And for the record, what I'm going to do is admit into the record that staff report, all those attachments to the staff report, which included all of the application materials and the noticing documents. I will admit all of those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference. And I assume that I am turning this matter back over again to Mr. Adams for the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Again, for the benefit of the audience, this is master file number ZD 2021-002. Robert Tippett, representing Thanksgiving Partnership LLC. And this is a zoning recommendation for annexation east of North Capitol Avenue, approximately 1,400 feet south of Foster Wells Road. This parcel is currently zoned AP20, which is a county designation for ag production 20-acre minimum. And the parcel is approximately 82.95 acres. Applicant has requested I-1 zoning for the area if it were to be annexed. This area is in the process of being considered for annexation by the city council. Public notice of this hearing was posted in the Tri-City Herald and sent to property owners within 300 feet of the property on October 18, 2021. Rezoning the property to I-1 will result in a more intense zoning than the current county AP 20 zoning. The rezone of the property to I-1 would allow industrial development in the neighborhood, and rezoning the property to I-1 would be in alignment with the comprehensive plan land use designation for the area. And those are the highlights for this report.
And what is the plan designation, or will it be if there's annexation?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
You indicated that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan designation. I just wanted to confirm with that.
Yes, it's industrial.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I have reviewed, once again, all of the materials that have been submitted. I do not have any questions for you. Is the applicant for this matter present?
Not in, yes, sir. Looks like he's moving toward the podium.
Excellent. Good evening, sir. Can you state your name and an address for me for the record?
Sure, it's Charles Laird. My address is 2716 Road 64 in Pasco.
All right, Laird, just to make sure I got that right.
That's correct.
All right, sir, would you raise your right hand for me? Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you give today will be the truth?
Yes,
All right, thank you. And you are part of the applicant in this matter, I assume, is that correct?
yes,
And are you authorized to appear and speak on behalf of their behalf?
yes.
All right, terrific. Now, what would you like to tell me about this project?
Well, I don't really have anything to tell you. There's no real project, a specific project to talk about. I just wanted to make a point of clarification that the entity that owns the property is Thanksgiving Limited Partnership, not Thanksgiving Partnership LLC. I don't know if that makes a difference in the process.
What is it again? It will make a difference. What is it again? Thanksgiving what?
Thanksgiving Limited Partnership. If you look at the back of the package, the city got the name correct when they sent out notice. But I just wanted to make sure that our application was referencing the correct entity that owned the property.
And it is an LLC, is that correct?
No, it's a limited partnership.
A limited partnership. All right. Thank you. And have you had a chance to look at the staff report that was prepared?
Yeah, I don't have any questions, and it all looks good.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's it.
All right, Mr. Laird, thanks for coming in today. I appreciate that.
Yep, thank you.
Were there any members of the public that came to testify on this particular zoning determination request?
None in the audience.
All right, thank you. And is there anything further from staff?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So, Mr. Laird, what I'm going to do at this point is I am going to close the public record. I will have a recommendation made to City Council. I'll try to get that recommended decision out, as I indicated before, hopefully by the middle of next week. We will now turn to the fourth item on today's agenda. This is also a zoning determination request given application number 2021-006. And this is a request for from the Port of Pasco for a zoning designation on property located within the proposed annexed portion of property for the city of Pasco. What I'm going to do at this point is I will admit into the record the application materials, the staff report, the noticing documents. There are site plan drawings and photographs, and I'll admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference. And once again, turn this matter over to Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Again, for the benefit of the audience, this is Master File ZD 2021-006. Randy Hayden, in behalf of the Port of Pasco, with a zoning recommendation for the Ryman Industrial Center annexation. This area is located between Highway 395 and the BNSF main line, approximately 1/2 mile north of Foster Wells Road, as seen on the aerial photograph on the screen there. Two of the parcels are zoned I-2 county, which is medium industrial zoning, and one parcel to the south is zoned AP20, which is ag production 20. I think I might have excluded that information from the staff report, and so this can be considered a correction to that. The area is approximately 82.95 acres altogether. And again, applicant has requested I-1 zoning for the area.
For all the parcels, correct?
Hold on just a minute here. I want to make sure I'm not lying to you. No, it's I-2 zoning that they're applying for. So I-2 zoning
For all three parcels?
for all three parcels, yes. Again, public notice of this hearing was posted in the Tri-City Herald and sent to the property owners within 300 feet of the property on October 19, 2021. As mentioned before, two of the three parcels are already zoned I-2 in the county, and the third parcel located to the south and east is zoned AP20, which is ag production, 20 acre minimum. However, all parcels are designated for industrial development by the comp plan land use map. Applying I-2 zoning to the property will not change the two northern parcels. However, it will result in a more intense zoning than the current county AP20 for the southern parcel. Applying I-2 zoning to the property would allow industrial development in the area, and it would be in alignment with the comprehensive plan land use designation for the area. Excuse me. And those are the highlights for our report.
All right, thank you very much. Is the applicant or applicant's representative here tonight?
Mr. Examiner, the applicant's representative became sick this afternoon and has made a request to keep the record open perhaps for 24 or 48 hours in case they need to address something. But other than that, there is not a representative of the Port of Pasco here this evening.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'll decide that after we see if there's any member of the public here. Is there any member of the public here today?
No, sir. And by the way, tomorrow is a city hall holiday, and so nobody will be in the offices. And so if the record were to be kept open, it should be till Friday at least.
I am not seeing a reason to keep the record open, but I don't know what the applicant may be thinking because of the recommendation. But I will keep the record open until 5 p.m. That would be the 13th. Let me see. No, 11th to 12th. Due to the applicant's representative's sickness and inability to come to tonight's hearing. So the record is left open just for the sole purpose of the applicant to submit whatever written comments that they wish to make. If they do not make any comments, that's fine. The record will close one way or the other at 5 p.m. on this Friday, November 12th. So that'll bring us down to the last item on today's agenda. This is a zone change request. Given application number Z 2021-014, and this is a request to rezone property located within Pasco from R2 to R4. And for the record, I will admit into the record at this time by this reference, not only the staff report, but all of the application materials that have come in, all the noticing documents that are here. There are multiple photographs of the site and the area and the existing buildings. I will admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference. And once again, turn this matter over to Mr. Adams for the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner.
Thank you.
Again, for the benefit of the audience, this is master file number Z 2021-014, Vinh Pham Quang, representing the Tri-Cities Vietnamese Buddhist Association, with a rezone request from R2, which is medium density residential, to R4, which is high density residential. The property is located at 1105 North 26th Avenue, parcel number 119341123, currently zoned R2, which is medium density residential. The property is approximately 1.3 acres or 56,402 square feet. The public notice of this hearing was posted in the Tri-City Herald and sent to property owners within 300 feet of the property on October 15, 2021. Applicant anticipates subdividing the lot into 3 residential building lots and developing 4-plex structures on the south 2 lots. And there's a site plan, a rough site plan included in our packet for the benefit of the examiner and the audience. The medium density residential designation on the comprehensive plan allows for R4 zoning. The site was annexed and assigned R2 medium density residential zoning in 1977. 4-plex apartments to the east were developed in the county prior to the annexation, and applicant wishes to match the existing 4-plex development to the east as represented on the slide on the screen. And those are the highlights of this report.
All right. Thank you very much. Is the applicant present and ready to proceed on this matter tonight? Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you state your name and an address for me?
My name is Paul Christensen. My address is 3002 Rainy Lane in Benton City, and I'm a representative of the property owners.
All right, and is it Christian Son or Sen? Is it S-E-N or S-O-N?
S-E-N. T-E-N-S-E-N. Yeah.
What was that again?
C-H-R-I-S-T-E-N-S-E-N.
Correct. Okay, good. All right, sir, I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give tonight will be the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. And as you indicated before you were sworn in, you're here as an agent authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the property owner and applicant today. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now, what would you like to tell me about this project?
Well, our intent is to maintain the temple where it stands and the parking area. The intent is to subdivide the property to be able to develop 2 more 4-plex buildings similar to what is on the east of this property. And to accommodate that, we need to do a zone change to get the density as we're requesting.
Okay, so it's 2 4-plexes.
That is correct.
Okay, great. All right. Now, have you had a chance to review the staff report that was prepared by Mr. Adams?
I have not seen it, no.
And so, I was going to ask if you agreed with those representations, but in the staff report that orally that was given by Mr. Adams, did you agree with all the representations contained in his oral presentation?
Yes, yes.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add about this request?
No, I think it's pretty straight. What our intent is to make a development that is very compatible with the neighborhood. We see a lot of the fourplexes right beside this property, and we want to just go ahead and do the same thing on this piece.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, that's it.
Well, Mr. Christensen, thank you very much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
I do appreciate that. Are there any members of the public present that wish to testify on this matter?
No, sir.
Okay, no members of the public are present. So what I'm going to do is I am going to close the public record portion of this hearing. I will have my recommended decision out within the next 10 working days. And again, I'll do my best to get it out by the middle of next week so it can be prepared and presented to City Council. Those are all the items that I had on my agenda tonight. Mr. Adams, is there anything else that we need to consider tonight?
No, sir.
All right, then everybody, what I'm going to do is I am going to close the public, I already closed the record. I'm going to adjourn is what I'm going to do. This November 10, 2021 meeting of the City of Pasco hearing examiner. It's been a very interesting meeting for me. I appreciate everybody's attendance and participation. And I look forward to our next one. But for the time being now, this meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a really nice night.